The American Psycho remake seems to be fake news. Will Matt Reeves' Batman enter the Superman world? Armie Hammer's making a comeback with his first film, The Dark Knight. Is Will Smith going to be in a new Matrix movie? And The Last of Us Season 2 has dropped its latest trailer. Let's get into this week's movie news.
What is up, movie friends? Welcome back to Raiders of the Lost Podcast, the ultimate film and TV podcast. And today is another episode of Movie News, the weekly episode where we go through all of the industry news, film and TV. We watch the trailers, we read all of the articles, so you do not have to scour the internet on your own. Just sit back, relax, and let us tell you what's going on.
Listen to our soothing voices talk about movies.
That's not a very soothing voice at all.
Soothing.
It's kind of a trailer voice right there.
Well, listen to Movie News. Movie News. Soothing voice.
So there's a lot of stories, much bigger than last week. We got so many things coming up.
The biggest stories ever.
The biggest news episode ever.
Just wait. Much bigger than last week.
Just wait, guys. But first, like always, let's get into the box office. Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, came out on top. Gerard Butler still got it with a $15 million debut. This film is tracking to make about the same as the first film, which pulled out $80 million in its worldwide release. This is, again, a pretty modest budget, $40 million for this movie.
Oh, so that's great.
This is a good start. It could definitely hit $100 million if it has legs, if it gets a good word of mouth. I'm hearing good things. This is like an old school macho action movie that you don't really see that often anymore, so I'm actually looking forward to seeing it.
It's really the only new movie in theaters right now besides another film we'll talk about in a little bit, because Wolfman doesn't come out until another week, and that's sort of an audience that would sort of cross over, but I'm looking forward to see this. I love some old school action.
It's a good trailer.
Gerard looks like a badass, like always.
I have a soft spot for all of Gerard's action movies. I love them.
I think it's just for Gerard.
Olympus has fallen, man.
He's a good-looking guy. It's his voice, the beard, lots of stuff.
I love Gerard. I love him.
Next up, Mufasa in second place with $12 million at the domestic box office. Sonic 3, $9 million at the domestic box office. That franchise has now passed $1 billion. Sonic is a billionaire. Next up, we have Nosferatu, $7 million at the domestic box office. Its total in North America is now $81 million. Big hit for Robert Eggers. I believe it's Focus Features' biggest movie, too, as well.
That's amazing. And with this kind of tracking, it'll easily hit $100 million domestic. It's still making $7 million a week. So
let's go.
$100 million is
so happy to hear that.
And it looks like it could possibly hit $200 million globally, which would be massive because the film's budget was pretty significant, although not super high. But, I mean, you want to see these kinds of movies, very creative, hard R-rated films making this kind of money. It's a very different looking film, which is it's just a wonderful piece of filmmaking. And next up, Moana 2 still is in the top 5 with $5 million this weekend. And the major wide release this week was Better Man, which went to 2,000 theaters this weekend. And unfortunately, like we predicted, it only made $2 million at the domestic box office on 2,000 theaters. So not a good performance. Unfortunately, you don't like to see it from a really big creative film like this, but it seems like clearly nobody was interested in seeing the film.
And that's globally. That's not just North America, and that's UK, that's Australia, everywhere. No one's really seeing Better Man. It's, it looks like a great movie. We've heard so many good things about it. We're going to try to see it this week, but this is shaping up to be the biggest bomb of 2025 for sure.
Yeah.
With a $100 million budget, marketing budget, probably close to $50 million. This thing's been playing on TV and trailers for months now. And so the studios or the people who made this, they're probably going to eat over $100 million on this.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. But again, this was a mostly government-funded film, so nobody's really losing money except for governments, and they all burn money for no reason anyways, so nothing new there. But and we made a clip that went super viral, and we weren't like happy about this, but it's strange.
We weren't criticizing the movie.
We were just saying the facts,
reporting the news.
But strange, people someone said, because we said it wasn't doing well in America, and someone said it's killing it in Australia, so that's all that matters. And I looked it up, and it had made $4,000 in Australia in 2 weeks. And I'm like, where are you getting this information from?
Just making it up.
Yeah, and also in the UK, which would be the prime location for this audience, has only grossed $3 million in 3 weeks. So it's just a movie that didn't really capture anyone's interest, unfortunately.
Meanwhile, Wallace and Gromit was watched by a third of the population in the UK.
A lot of people
Literally
watched
a third of the population.
It's insane. Now, for tracking, we have some news about Captain America Brave New World. It's tracking with a pretty okay $81 million to $107 million for its opening weekend on Valentine's Day.
That's pretty good.
I mean, yeah, pretty good. Yeah,
What do you mean pretty okay?
the budget was $400 million.
Oh yeah, you're right.
What?
You're right. It was.
That's not
pretty
exactly
high.
ideal.
Yeah, they need to get close to $1 billion to
Yeah.
break even on this movie.
Yeah.
Probably about 900 million.
Exactly, and
That is pretty okay.
You're like, no, that's great.
When you look
man.
at it like that, that's
for how
pretty
much
okay.
they spent, you need to make. You have to break at least 800
4
million.
rounds of reshoots.
Yeah, this movie needs to make around $1 billion for it to turn a profit and be successful. They also released a final new trailer. It's actually quite short one. It's about 90 seconds. It's not really much different from what we've seen before. It's still most of the same footage, just a little bit more Harrison Ford, a little bit more Red Hulk, but otherwise, the trailer is pretty much the same as everything else that's been released. I was like, why'd you even release this new trailer if you're not adding new footage or story beats or characters to what people are seeing?
Because they're still filming, probably.
But yeah, I mean, it's Valentine's Day is a weird day to release a big action movie. Again, doesn't look that amazing, but we'll see. It doesn't look like it'll be a huge hit, but it could be well received. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, the girlies they dictate what's happening on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I mean, why? It's a weird release date. I don't know.
There's no way like some guys can be like, hey, babe, you want to go see Captain America on Valentine's Day?
What? I
Anyways.
want to see a rom-com romantic film on Valentine's Day. Doesn't look like there's any romance in it.
There's probably a little bit somewhere. Let's talk about Superman and Batman, which are always hot topics lately. So first of all, we got our first new look at David Cornsweet in Superman in James Gunn's film. It's just a still from the movie that we haven't seen yet. It's not in the trailer. It looks great.
Nice close-up of the suit. Yeah.
Good shot. And also, Golden Globes happened, and we all know.
Oh yeah, the Golden Globes.
This is quite the event. But there's a lot of questions for Matt Reeves on the red carpet, and also James Gunn's been doing interviews here and there for the upcoming project on whether or not the Batman, Robert Pattinson, and Matt Reeves' Batman will join the DCU. Matt Reeves says the possibility really comes down to whether or not it makes sense. What the future brings, I can't really tell you. We'll have to see where it goes. And also he said he's been seeing online rumors for who the villain could be for the Batman 2. And he said, you just look at them casually and you go, oh, is that what they think now? Interesting. Also, James Gunn revealed that him and his dog Ozu will debut a new look at Superman during the Puppy Bowl on February 9th. So probably a little teaser on the February 9th, which I'm looking forward to. So personally, I don't want the Batman to be injected into the DCU. I think it's going to stay like that. I don't think they're going to mix them up. The tones just don't match at all, clearly. But anything's possible. We all know that James Gunn wants to do his own Batman, though, with the Brave and the Bold, which will probably not be till 2027, 2028.
Yeah, then you got two Batmans in the universe. That'd
be confusing.
Yeah,
I think keep the Batman its own thing.
just leave it be.
And the Batman is filming this year. It is coming out in 2027, so it's not canceled. There's lots of reports, people thinking it's going to get canceled.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna get canceled. People love the Batman.
It's happening.
I mean, yeah, you
happening,
signed
guys.
Pattinson to 3 pictures. I mean, Matt Reeves too, I'm sure. So, I mean, the wheels are rolling. Again,
The wheels on the bus go round and round, baby.
they sure do. It takes time. Plus, again, all the strikes slowed them down a ton. And then their original plans were thrown out. And then, again, Pattinson had other projects already scheduled on his slate that he had to do. So they couldn't, shut those down so he could do the Batman. So, I mean, these things take time when outside circumstances happen to the industry, But
especially with Mickey 17 coming out,
Yeah.
he has to do all the press right now.
Yeah.
That movie comes out in March, so he's going to be doing press for 2 months.
Yeah.
As well as whatever he's filming.
he's got a busy schedule.
He's doing 4 movies this year.
He's filming right now, too.
Yeah.
In Boston, guy.
Yeah, kid.
All right, let's talk about Armie Hammer and making his comeback. So he's going to be the lead in Ooh Balls, new film, The Dark Knight. And
It's not a Batman movie.
if you know Ooh Ball movies, this isn't really ideal. The film follows a vigilante who hunts down criminals, but it's called The Dark Knight.
It's not Batman.
It's not Batman. And Ooh Ball's made all kinds of movies, a lot of video game adaptations, and then a lot of just very, very bad films. I mean, you got to start again somewhere, I guess, and we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, some Uwe films, in case you don't know. Rampage, Postal, In the Name of the King, House
Dungeon
of the
Siege
Dead,
Tale.
Rampage, President Down. What else has he done? Yeah, In the Name of the King, First Shift.
Alone in the Dark.
So he's made a lot of movies.
Yeah.
But that should be an interesting experiment.
Jason Statham was in one of his movies.
Hey man, you
Worked out for him.
Which one did you do?
Name of the King, A Dungeon Siege Tale.
That's right.
And then Ray Liotta was the villain.
I remember that.
Ray Liotta was an evil wizard, and he was casting sorcery spells while Jason Statham had a sword
with an Italian mobster accent, smoking a cigarette. All right, American Psycho news. We all know we've been reporting, and the world's been losing their heads over the American Psycho remake, starring Austin Butler with Luca Guadagnino directing. According to the author Bret Easton Ellis, who wrote the original book, he says this remake is false news, according to him. To quote him, "I have a feeling it's fake news," he said while speaking on his podcast in December. "I heard somewhere from someone that there are no contracts. Austin Butler hasn't signed anything to play Patrick Bateman. Luca doesn't have a deal. Scott Burns, who was supposed to write the screenplay, doesn't have a deal." Ellis added that if the reboot does exist somehow, he is not involved in the project. He has nothing to do with it. He might get some money if they do it, but not involved creatively at any level, and that is all he knows.
Fake news. We'll see.
It's probably,
yeah. Just someone heard about it, and then it became
I wonder if
story.
Maybe the studio that has the rights to it, maybe they were teasing, see what fan reaction would be.
Maybe
see what the world would say to it, the outcry.
Put it out there and see what happens.
Just to, sort of prepare them for when they actually really announce it.
Yeah. Can you tell us about this Will Smith Matrix Instagram post?
Okay, so Will Smith made this cryptic post teasing that he may be starring in a new Matrix movie. And it's basically the same type from the code, not the coding, but the text in the green screens in the Matrix. Wake up, Neo. The Matrix has you. That same font, except red on a black screen. Very analog, like an old computer. And the text says, in 1997, the Wachowskis offered Will Smith the role of Neo in The Matrix. Smith turned it down. He chose Wild Wild West, believing it was a better fit for him at the time. What would The Matrix have been like with Will Smith as Neo? Wake up, Will, ...
So is this him just having fun with an Instagram post, or is it an actual thing?
So I think, given what time of year it is right now, it's January.
Yes.
What's happening in February? The biggest event of the year on TV.
Which is?
The Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl, okay.
For America, the biggest event ever. My guess is it's maybe a Super Bowl commercial. Maybe the Wachowskis are directing a Matrix-esque Super Bowl commercial for a product. Maybe. And maybe Will be the Neo in that universe for that movie. I mean, for that commercial.
That's a great theory.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a movie, because this is not how...
Nothing has been announced whatsoever for anything.
And I think because of the failure of Matrix Resurrections, that I don't know if Warner Brothers would ever want to touch the Matrix again.
Yeah, I don't
Even though
think
it's still very valuable IP, but I think they would have to go in a completely new direction. Maybe that's what this is. But I would say it's either a Super Bowl ad or Super Bowl commercial with a product involved that the Wachowskis are directing, Matrix-esque, or maybe it's like a Warner Brothers thing.
Yeah, maybe it's gonna be an announcement,
or it could be a movie,
and maybe the new direction is it's red font instead of green.
Yeah,
that's the only difference.
And Will's Neo.
The Matrix code is red.
I mean, the thing with the Matrix is there's so many different interpretations of the Matrix, so many versions of it. You can do one of those other versions, and you scrap the whole entire verse of what's already been done.
I mean, you can do a reset with a different one
because there's been 7, so you might as well. We'll do the second rendition of what the Matrix.
You know what though? I don't want to see any more Matrix movies.
I don't want to see.
I just want my original The Matrix. That's all I want.
The only Matrix movie I would want to see is I would want to see the war of machines versus humans on Earth, above ground.
I mean, I'm not really that interested in that.
I'm not like I need that. I'm just saying if they're gonna do it, that's what I would want to see.
I guess, but I mean,
I don't want to see.
The Matrix isn't even in it then.
I know, but still, it's how the war started. Like what happened.
I get it.
So when Morpheus talks to Neo with the TV,
I remember,
and he says, "Welcome to the real."
The Valley of the Real.
Valley of the Real.
The Real.
I couldn't remember the other word.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I just have the Matrix. That's all I want to watch for the rest of my life is just that one movie. That's it.
Forever?
Yeah, forever.
Cool. All right.
That's all. I don't care about watching any more Matrix stuff. I really don't.
Me neither.
All right. Let's talk about Some more news about Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey.
The weekly chat about the Odyssey.
Yeah, this is going to be the new thing. The budget has been released, and it's estimated to be about $250 million, which would be one of his most expensive films ever. I still think Tenet might be more expensive.
Tenet and Dark Knight Rises was very expensive as well.
Very expensive, yeah. But still, I mean, considering how big the movies are, it's not that expensive.
Yeah,
Captain America and Brave New World is almost twice as much.
Yeah, which is nuts. And this one's going to be practical monsters. He's going to have real Cyclops, real giants. Real. It's going to be nuts, man. Very excited about this news, which this movie starts filming this month. Pretty big deal. Let's talk about The Last of Us Season 2. We got a new trailer for it, which looks great. This is a really well-produced show, and we got new looks at Caitlin Dever, who's going to play Abby, as well as Bella Ramsey returning as Ellie. Now, Season 2, based off Game 2, takes place about 5 or 6 years after the events of the first series.
Sure.
So, the first season, if there was a weakness, it was probably in casting. And a lot of people are wondering and questioning whether Bella Ramsey can do this older, more mature, more brutal version of Ellie for Season 2, Part 2, because she is going to be a killing machine. And obviously she's aged, but Bella still looks very similar to what she did in the previous season. I think Caitlin Dever is going to be really good in this role as Abby. No actress is going to have a win-win situation with this role because the character is so divisive just with the fans of the games. So no matter what, Caitlin Dever is Abby, no matter how good she is in the role, which I'm sure she'll be fantastic, she's going to get a lot of heat online. But I still am very hopeful for the Season 2 because it looks really great. And I'm curious to see what things they change. We got some looks at some things that are, moving away from some of the storyline in Part 2 of the game. But I think they're going to go with the route of Season 1, pretty much stay on point, stay with the plot, because that was the whole point of the game, is to change things up, do something very unique that would, divide your fan base, but also arguably make one of the best games of the last 10 years. So we'll see, but I think this trailer looked awesome.
They're absolutely highlighting the subway sequence. It's all over.
Wait.
All over the trailer, which looks really good, and then it ends with the title card. A flare is thrown into the frame, and the red light and smoke pours up, and then it reveals the title, and that's the title card for this trailer. So they're definitely using the subway sequence as a big highlight for anticipation for the series, which I think is smart because it's one of the best sequences in that game.
Yeah, and
it's really fun.
Everything being lit only with red flares. It's an awesome part of the game. It's terrifying. It looks great. And again, this is one of the best produced shows on TV. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a really solid trailer. All right, let's get into 28 years later news. So there's some more. This has been the Odyssey of the last 2 months. Every week, 28 years later stuff. So Cillian Murphy will not appear in 28 years later, although he's hoping there will be some Jim along the line. So we'll see if out of the sequel to the third film, he'll show up. Ray Fiennes, a new look at him was shown for 28 years later. He's described as a doctor who somehow survived the zombie apocalypse on mainland UK for 28 years. Next up, some story details. It follows a community on Holy Island, a section of land only connected to the UK when the tide recedes each day along that road. So when the tide is high, it's just water. When the tide is low, there's this road that goes from this little tiny island onto mainland UK.
There's a glimpse in one of the trailers of Aaron and his son running on it.
And the rest of the world remains relatively unaffected by zombies except for the UK.
Obviously, which ties to the previous films. In the first film, of course, the ending when Jim looks up in the sky and sees the plane because one of the soldiers theorizes that they're all in quarantine. The rest of the world, there's people, they're flying all over the place and just living their lives.
Which I think is super smart because then you have really great themes of really the world abandoning an entire country under ruins. So I think that's really fascinating and a really cool concept. And also, it was revealed that Danny Boyle will, in fact, direct the third film. He was not confirmed until recently, so he will be making the third film as director.
Yeah, he's doing the first and third in the new trilogy of these films. I'm ecstatic about this movie. It looks awesome. I'm so curious about it. They've been great with their marketing campaigns. There's a new cover for Empire Magazine with that actor who everyone thought was Cillian Murphy, the very skinny man, the bone skinny man. But it's a great shot of him. Looks very eerie. And again, it doesn't even look like he's a zombie. He just looks like a human.
Let me look at this. He's just really hungry.
I don't think he doesn't have the red eyes.
Is it Empire Magazine?
I have a theory that, I think that it's possible that the infected are all dead. And I think that it's just humans are just have gone crazy. I think that's my theory for this.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, he looks like he's... Wow. Yeah, that's definitely not Cillian.
And it's really interesting to hear from the producer that Cillian Murphy will not be in 28 years later. But again, that doesn't mean he won't be in the other ones. We don't know yet.
Wow. Really interesting.
Cool. Let's talk about the DGA Directors Guild snubs of two of the best directors that came out with movies in 2024. So the nominations for Best Director from the DGA are Sean Baker for Anora, Edward Berger for Conclave, Brady Corbett for The Brutalist, Jacques Adord for Emilia Perez, and James Mangold for Complete Unknown. You might notice that there are two really big names missing from that list, and we're talking about Denis Villeneuve and Luca Guadagnino. Absolutely shocking snubs from, you get the award shows for like the Golden Globes. Like, it is what it is. It's always like very political. What's hot, what's topical that year for movies that get nominated, as well as their directors. But for the DGA, your guild, your union to snub you, Denis Villeneuve, who just made Dune Part 2, one of the most epic, fantastic films of the last 20 years, getting snubbed by the DGA, that's a bit of a shocker.
And also, I mean, the DGA generally is better with choosing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Nolan was winning DGA awards before he was ever nominated for an Oscar. Like, he won for Inception. He won an award for Memento. And it wasn't until Dunkirk he was nominated by the Academy. But the DGA, for example, generally has a much better decisions for who gets nominated. So I was really surprised. I was expecting Denis to win the DGA award for directing.
It's wild. It's like one of those things where, Mikey Madison, she's the favorite. She's won, I think, 20 awards for her performance in Anora.
Yeah.
And it seems like every year or so there's one of those actors or actresses who has that, that pull. They're winning everything. And you would have thought that that'd be Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part 2, of course, coming around award season, but he's not even getting nominated, which is just, it's pretty shocking.
To not get nominated, that is
pretty
really
shocking.
Especially for what Dune Part 2 is. I was really surprised by the DGA nominations. And I mean, yeah, all these directors did phenomenal jobs with their films, but I mean,
can you imagine if he's not nominated for an Oscar? I'm not watching the Oscars. I'm not watching the Academy Awards.
And these are, prerequisites for the Oscar nominations. So, for example, back to Nolan. He won Best Directing, Outstanding Achievement for Directing at the DGA for Memento, Dark Knight, Inception, Dunkirk, and Oppenheimer. So with Memento, Dark Knight, and Inception, even when everyone else snubbed him, he won DGA Best Achievement. So, very strange. Very strange indeed.
There's a few directors on that list where scratching my head.
This was more surprising to me than the Globes.
Me too.
To see this list.
Yeah.
And also, I think, with Luca, with what he did with both Challengers and Queer, were fantastic.
But Challengers, it's so creative. It's so well done. And I mean, I like James Mangold's films a lot. He's a fantastic director.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many biopics, and they're not really changing them up too much usually.
And I mean,
But Luca did something so new and unique with Challengers.
Yeah, I think so too. So it's strange. Now, staying on Denis, he insists again that Dune Messiah will be his final Dune film, and after that, it would become unhealthy. After that, it will become unhealthy.
But they are preparing for Dune 4, which means that we're only 2 movies away from the giant sandworm God Emperor. I can't wait. I fucking hope they do that.
I made this movie just for one person, and it was me.
It was for me.
It was for me.
If they make God Emperor, fucking hell, man.
They're gonna.
I hope so, man. I would love to see God Emperor.
And also, it's really wonder who they'll get to follow up as director. How do you follow that up?
True. All right, let's talk about Wolfman. We actually got to see this movie a couple weeks ago. It was really excellent. We think that Leigh Whannell did a fantastic job. He's the director of The Invisible Man as well, and he's been working in horror for quite a while. Origins back all the way with Saw, developing the story of James Wan, as well as being one of the actors chained to one of the tubs in that movie, as well as working in that franchise and then the Insidious franchise. But Invisible Man was fantastic, and this one's also excellent. It's hitting theaters this weekend for January 17th. But also the transformation part of it has been released by Universal and Blumhouse online. If you want to check it out, I recommend not. I recommend going into this blind because I thought the transformation was freaking sick and unique and brutal.
Freaking sick, man.
Freaking awesome.
Freaking amazing.
Freaking sick, man. I like this movie a lot. So
Sharks with freaking laser beams on their heads. When was the last time someone said frickin'?
Frickin'. Man, it just popped out. The 90s are coming out of me today.
Back to James Mangold. He gave an update on his Star Wars movie, which he's in pre-production on. He says it's a movie about the origins of the Jedi. Jedi Origins. Set 25,000 years before the Skywalker saga. That's a long fucking time.
When Twitter still exists.
Jesus Christ. He said...
Is that present day?
I don't know. I guess so. I'm not interested in being handcuffed by so much lore at this point that it's almost immovable and you can't please anybody. I mean, this is what we've always been saying about Star Wars movies. They should just start completely new stories, reset, have nothing to do with anything that's come before. I mean, I think this is the way to do it if you're going to do a new Star Wars movie, to just make it completely its own thing. But again, another Origins. Who was the first Jedi? Where did they find the first crystal?
Who's the first person that moved a rock with their mind?
Here we go.
Let's talk about some new trailers, everybody. The first one we got was a new Jason Statham and David Ayer movie, A Working Man. And I think Jason's just entering this genre that only he does, of you're a random profession, but you're also an assassin.
And you're English.
And you're British. And everyone loves you. You have so many friends, and you got to protect them. And so he plays this guy who runs a construction site and a construction company for his friend who gave him a job.
Michael Pena.
He's got a past in the army or in the military, special forces, something. We don't know yet. But, you know, some gangster comes by for one of his employees to give him some money or something. And he beats the fuck out of them. And then the owner of the company's daughter gets kidnapped, and they ask him, please, get our daughter back. No problem, mate.
Gotta protect the hive.
It's just...
Wait, different movie.
It's not Beekeeper. It's A Working Man. It looks sick.
What's his next one gonna be? A janitor? The cleaner.
The chef.
The cleaner. I mean,
the podcaster.
My mates.
They took my microphones. I took their throats.
Oh, man. A Working Man. Yeah. Why not? Beekeeper was kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we got the most movie trailer of the week.
What is this movie, man?
In the Lost Lands.
Did you watch this trailer?
I watched it.
Did you see the poster?
Oh, I saw the poster. I saw your tweet about the poster, so we'll get into that in a sec. So, Mila Jovovich and Dave Bautista star in this dystopian action sci-fi film from George R.R. Martin as well. Can't all be hits.
He didn't direct it.
He wrote the story.
Paul W.S. Anderson.
Paul W.S. Anderson directed this film. He directed all the Resident Evils, and this is some kind of super distant dystopian future where the world's fallen to ruin because of wars, and now there's like different groups vying for power. And Dave Bautista seems like to be like this lone mercenary warrior who teams up with Mila Jovovich to stop like some empress woman from taking over. It looks like a big rehash of Dune and Mad Max put together, and it looks like a lot of green screen in this movie. Tell us about this poster, though, James.
The poster...
First,
not great lighting.
Yeah, let's talk about Dave Bautista's pose in it.
It's when I swear to God, when I saw this poster, at first I thought it was either a meme or AI. It does not look great. And then I noticed quickly, I've been using Photoshop for 15 years, man. I spot stuff so quick.
Yeah.
Same thing with you. And
you're the Photoshop master.
Of course, most posters, it's like they cut out the actor and impose them on something. Yeah, it happens a lot. Most posters are like that, but usually it's pretty seamless and it looks good. His back foot, it's flat on a ground on a surface with nothing beneath it. There's just he's like supposed to be standing on skulls, but you can see edges of his heel and his toes.
How is that? Yeah,
it's just flat emptiness beneath his foot, and it's just like, how does that make it on the poster?
You can see empty space beneath his heel.
His flat feet.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
It just showed, like, who edited that poster? How does it get past so many people?
Also, his pose in that poster is like...
The pose is whatever, but look at his back left foot. It's just floating on nothing.
How does that pass?
I don't understand how you put a bunch of money into a movie. I'm not a movie poster editor, but I spotted that right away. And
Yeah, my God, like the costumes, and an absolute Dune ripoff. Like
Mila
Jovovich's tattoos all over her face.
I think more of a Mad Max ripoff.
No,
than
this is
anything.
Dune meets Mad Max. Is what this movie is. And so they took two sci-fi movies that people love, and they're like, "What if we make it? What if we put them together?
Basically,
people will love it, right, guys?"
Goodness.
No. Also looks like a ripoff of The Stand too.
Yeah, it's just the green screen and CGI just does not look great.
Woo! What a trailer, man. What a trailer. Let's get into Reacher. Season 3 is coming out soon, releasing on February 20th. Another Valentine's Day action franchise.
Valentine's Day is the 14th, bro.
No, but like Valentine's week. You know what I mean?
It's a week later, man.
Anyways.
It's not Valentine's week, but the trailer.
You're right. I was absolutely wrong.
The trailer, it looks like the best season of Reacher. It looks fucking awesome.
It looks like very smaller in scope because he goes undercover. It looks like they're really hitting the comedy.
He's like me undercover.
Yeah. And then there's a huge, like, 7-foot tall brute. He ends up being, like, joining the team of bodyguards for some criminal to become an informant for them. And the other bodyguard is even bigger than him. So there's a lot of comedy between the two of them about who's stronger. And it looks really fun. It looks good.
It looks like a good season of Reacher, honestly.
How many books have you read of Reacher?
4? Something like that.
Have you read this one?
I don't even know if it's based on a book. They're probably doing their own thing at this point.
Oh. I mean, there's so many books. Why not just... Oh, so they're pulling a board now.
You know how studios are. I don't know. I can neither confirm. I haven't looked into it. But whatever this book, if it's based off a book, I haven't read this one.
Okay. It's not a pop-up book.
Moving on to Companion, we got a new trailer for Jack Quaid and Sophie Thatcher's new film Companion, a new psychological thriller produced by the team behind Barbarian in theaters January 31st. This trailer was great. It gave so much more exposition about what's going on in this world with this sort of technology. It's very Black Mirror-esque with intense horror themes, where it seems like Jack Quaid plays a character. He meets this girl, and he can sort of control her with voice activation. And that is what obviously leads to the shot of, which is a really cool shot, one of the most interesting of the year so far, of her hand over the fire and letting her arm catch on fire. So it seems like there's some sort of technology that we'll find out more details about this when we see the movie finally, that you can control people with tech.
She's a robot.
Okay, she's a robot. Yeah.
She's called the sex robot in the trailer.
That's what it was. Yeah, okay.
So it turned into. I'm not really. I was really excited by the trailer, the first trailer, but here I think this is just another AI horror film.
It doesn't seem like an AI horror film. It seems like not AI being the horror. It seems like humans will be the horror.
I mean, yeah.
I think that's interesting.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think this trailer is better than the first trailer they dropped, which is just a little teaser. But this looks like a fucking good movie. Not gonna lie. This looks pretty fucking good.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm just tired of tech and robots and AI and evil and stuff like this.
But it's not evil AI. It's evil humans.
I know. I get it.
Hey, man.
Same thing with Ex Machina, man.
You know what? We're gonna see this movie and it's gonna be great.
I know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm just saying. I was surprised that it ended up being a tech movie. That was not what I was expecting.
I thought it was gonna be Hypnosis.
Yeah, me too. But
maybe.
My guess is that it's because it looks like they have a meet cute. Because at first I was like, oh, does he own this robot? But maybe robots are in the world, like on their own, and then he starts dating a robot.
Or maybe that's part of the procedure of how you court your robot.
Oh, you set it up so it's like a meet cute.
Yeah.
So you have the full experience of a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty desperate.
We've all been there, Jack.
Just use Bumble, man.
This shit don't work.
Yeah, Bumble doesn't work at all. That's an absolute lie. It never works.
Either 6-1 or nothing.
How much did he earn?
All right, let's talk about Glenn Powell. My man has been using his power in Hollywood to the best of his abilities right now. He's taking his production company, Barnstorm. He has just signed a first-look deal with Universal Pictures to develop films for the studio. He says, I want our company to be a destination for world-class theatrical entertainment. Glenn Powell becoming the new Tom Cruise. Let's fucking go. I love it.
I like the name Barnstorm. It's definitely going to do something with Twisters. For sure.
Yeah.
A storm in a barn.
Plus, he's from the South. He's from Texas.
Oh, I know he's from Texas.
Yeah, so it's just like a Southern thing. Barns.
Oh, I know there are barns in
storms.
Texas. I'm just saying, those two words together, it's very Twisters.
I don't know why you would associate those with Twister. They have nothing. Twister has nothing to do with storms or barns. Did you see the movie?
Twisters! All right, we got some news for Alien Romulus in the home release. Fede Alvarez says they improved the CGI Ian Holm for the Alien Romulus release. I quote, we just ran out of time in post-production to get it right. I wasn't 100% happy with some of the shots in the theatrical release.
So, did you see the before and after?
I did not. Did they release it?
There's some stills because obviously you can either if you own the 4K or you rent it on Amazon. The Prime, so obviously this is for home release. So if you bought Alien Romulus physical media, then you have the new version. But if you rent it on Amazon Prime, for example, it has the old version, the theatrical version. And it does look a little better. They basically pulled the camera out a little bit. And
that's what we said. They should have shot it wide the whole time.
They pulled it wider and also added shadows and adjusted the lighting on Ian Holm's face. I think it hides it a little better. But still, at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to fully work for me. I still loved Alien Romulus a lot. Yeah. I think it's an awesome, kick-ass movie. And I'm excited for the future of Alien now. But it still looks not amazing to me.
It also sounds like those adjustments could have been made pretty quickly before the film came out.
Yeah, I mean, it was too bright to begin with. That's when I was watching in theater, they should have thrown some shadows on his face. It would have made it more believable.
Yeah.
But that's basically what they did. They pulled the camera out. They also made his head feel more human and feel more tangible in real life. Like the shape.
Like when you touch it.
Yeah, no, like the shape of his head's a little different, if that makes sense. So you can see the before and after. I'll send you some photos. I found it on Twitter.
Okay. We'll look at it.
Yeah.
We'll look at it.
Take a peek.
I will. Speaking of film releases, so Wicked went on digital for rentals and purchase. And Universal says that Wicked earned $70 million in digital sales for the film's first 7 days and reportedly made $26 million in sales on New Year's Eve alone.
Wow.
So it made almost $100 million already in its home release.
How many girlies were having sing-along parties on New Year's Eve to Wicked?
I'm sure a lot. You didn't?
No, I didn't.
You did not?
John Chu came out. He was asked about why he didn't name Part 2. It's called Wicked for Good. He's like, and I liked and disliked his answer, but I get it. He's like, no one wants a Part 2. No one signs. Like, why would you want to name your movie Part 2? But at the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, but Dune did pretty good, and The Godfather did pretty good. But I think the name Wicked for Good's clever. I like it. It's always been like that on the script, so
they should have just called it Still Wicked.
Still, even more wicked. Wicked.
I mean, I don't really care about the title.
Me neither. So Timothy Chalamet, he's going to be hosting SNL again, I think for his third or fourth time. He's not only going to be the guest of the show, but he'll also be the musical guest performing Bob Dylan songs, which is pretty cool.
Very cool marketing.
That doesn't happen very often where you have the double hosting, but that's pretty cool.
And also, there'd be double hosting and also basically performing as a character you played in the movie that just came out.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll be the character now, but yeah.
Well, I don't think he'll be dressed as Bob Dylan, but I think he'll be singing as Bob Dylan.
I think he'll be singing as Timothy Chalamet.
As Bob Dylan.
Like, just doing Bob Dylan songs.
But I mean, doing it like an
doing
impression. He's not going to sing it like Chalamet. He's going to sing it like Dylan.
We'll find out.
You're going to tune into SNL to find out, guys.
I'll watch SNL if Chalamet's on it.
Yeah.
He's one of the only few people I'd watch on that show.
We got the streaming charts for December 9th to 15th. It's interesting to see what the most popular watched movies for the week before Christmas was. And again, I know it's a random date, but this is all we have for streaming numbers. And I'm always curious about like what is performing well. Now, at the top of the charts for all of streaming was Red One, the Amazon Prime film starring The Rock and Chris Evans. Ended up getting 2.1 billion minutes watched from that week alone. Carry On, Netflix's big hit, 1.69 billion minutes.
Carry On's become their 5th highest watched movie.
That's pretty crazy
for original Netflix
Came
movies.
out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Next up, It Ends With Us with 977 million minutes watched. That Christmas on Netflix. And then Subservience, also on Netflix. I do not know what those are, but a lot of people watched it.
And then Raiders of the Lost Podcast, 486 million minutes watched.
Thanks, everyone. We're now billionaires. But we predicted Red One would be a big hit once it came on Amazon Prime.
Fun Christmas movie.
Yeah, I knew that would be a big performer.
We got new looks at a bunch of upcoming films for 2025. We got a new look at Jonathan Bailey and Gareth Edwards. Jurassic World Rebirth. Jonathan Bailey.
You fucking SpongeBob over here.
Jonathan Bailey. I don't need it. I definitely don't need it. I need it. Anyways, Jonathan Bailey and Gareth Edwards, Jurassic World Rebirth.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
We got a new look at Hannah John Kamen and Wyatt Russell and Florence Pugh in Thunderbolts, as well as a new look at the live-action How to Train Your Dragon remake.
Yeah, it's when they're in the arena with the dragon, and she's trying to figure out how he's so good at this.
Nice.
It's great.
Thanks for your expertise, having just watched it for the first time.
Whoa, you haven't even watched it. What are you salty that I've seen it? You haven't?
No, I'm not.
I am an expert on How to Train Your Dragon after one watch. Although I think I got the context a little incorrect on that scene, but it's about right. It's about those lines. She's like, "I got this." He's like, "Don't worry. He's got his methods for taking out dragons."
Gotcha.
Next up, news about Tom Holland. He's going to star and produce an adaptation of John Grissom's The Partner for Universal. The film follows a young law firm partner, obviously,
The John Grissom novel.
faking his death and fleeing to South America, stealing $90 million from a client and leaving behind his wife and kids. That sounds like a really interesting story.
Heck yeah, Tom Holland.
I mean, don't celebrate leaving your wife and kids, but yeah.
Did you see he just got engaged to Zendaya?
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, they just got, she's on the red carpet at the Globes with a massive diamond ring.
It's bigger than her head.
Worth $200K apparently.
Damn.
So that's really great.
Was it 18 carats?
It's pretty big.
Damn.
I saw this great tweet where they were comparing Zendaya's wedding ring to Selena Gomez's because she got engaged to Benny Blanc, and I guess her ring is worth $1 million.
Who's Selena's?
Selena's, and then Zendaya's is worth $200,000. And people are like, can you believe it's only worth $200,000? But then someone retweeted it saying, yeah, but the ring also comes with Tom Holland.
That's good. Yeah, he's killing it, man.
It's
pretty
Tom
good.
Holland.
It's a pretty
Yeah.
good perk.
I mean, yeah.
Also, I mean, just because a ring is expensive doesn't mean it's more beautiful.
Or that the person didn't put more love into
Yeah,
it.
exactly. I mean, it's probably it could be a specific cut that he knew she would like, and
It's a $200,000 ring.
it's a very nice ring. I mean, who cares? Why is this news?
But I mean, it's so funny.
Comparing rings of
The ring
actresses.
comes with Tom Holland, so I think
that's funny.
that has something to do with it.
Yeah.
Passion of the Christ 2, everybody. It's happening. Mel Gibson says it will be titled The Resurrection of Christ. Will depict heaven and hell, fallen angels. He calls it very ambitious.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down. I love heaven and hell depicted on screen. We don't
miss it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Constantine is. I love the hell sequence in there, and I think it's really a really cool idea, and I'm down to see it.
And Hollywood's just so afraid to touch anything to do with Christianity or Catholicism besides, Conclave or Spotlight. So
Fucking Spotlight
if
guy.
you've seen those, you know what we mean. Why Hollywood will do them.
Spotlight guy.
Spotlight.
This is the Boston Globe.
We're gonna we're gonna go to San Tapio's and get some pizza and then fucking crack this case of priests.
Tell me what happened. Tell me the truth, fucking guy. This fucking guy.
It could have been any of us.
This is our neighborhood.
Fucking Spotlight.
Oh my god. That's the new joke of the podcast.
Spotlight.
Fucking Spotlight.
It's gonna be end up being the Spotlight.
Spotlight's a perfect word for the accent. Spotlight guy.
Yeah, it's the O words that people don't understand. It's like where
Spotlight.
the Boston really comes out.
All right, next up, The Wizard of the Kremlin. It's a new film about Vladimir Putin from Olivier Assayas, and Jude Law has been tapped to play Putin.
Yeah, pretty good choice.
Good choice.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Dog Stars. Now, this is Ridley Scott's next film that was going to star Paul Mescal. It's a post-apocalyptic thriller which follows a civilian pilot living with a dog and an ex-Marine set in a near future where an unnamed pandemic has decimated American society.
So is it I Am Legend? This is I Am Legend 2?
Jacob Elordi is in talks to replace Paul Mescal in The Dog Stars. It's pretty funny.
Next up, we got some Sony Spider-Verse news. Palak Patel, who oversaw the studio's Spider-Man villain spin-off movies, as well as the Tom Holland Spider-Man trilogy, has left Sony Pictures. He was the point man for all that Spider-Man, all the Spider-Man productions. And then he's moved over to, I believe, a streamer. He already got a new job.
Yeah, well, I mean, once you're that big in studios.
Yeah, made a lot of successful movies.
The Venom movies are very successful.
Venom!
Running Man, some more updates on Edgar Wright's remake and new adaptation of the material. Coleman Domingo has been cast as the game show host in the remake alongside Glenn Powell. I think that's a really great choice. I think Coleman really can bring that energy and TV show quality as well as the morbid fascination with murder that this futuristic world will have. I think that's great.
Yeah, I think you could have a lot of fun like they did with Hunger Games for the host. Stanley Tucci was always that very colorful, extravagant host of that show. So I think this movie is an absurdist sci-fi dystopian, and it's super out there. So I think you can have a lot of fun with that character. Next up, we have news about the new Pennywise series, It, Welcome to Derry. It used to be called just Welcome to Derry, but they changed it to It, Welcome to Derry. I think maybe it wasn't tracking well without having It in the title. So now it's called that. And this is going to be a 3-season prequel series, and each season is going to be a different year. So the first season will be set in 1962, the second season in 1935, and then the third season in 1908. Because if you remember, it's 27 years between every one of Pennywise's awakenings when he's hungry from his hibernations.
Let's move on to a couple reboots and remakes in the works. Grimm, the TV show, is getting a reboot at Peacock. And then Holes, the movie starring Shia LaBeouf, is getting remade at Disney Plus as a TV series.
So dumb! What? So dumb. Nobody wants that.
They're just like running through the list.
Nobody
It's like-
wants that.
I swear they're just taking darts and throwing it.
They have a list of all.
All right,
the
what are we gonna do?
previous
25. Boom, 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 boom. All right, we're gonna do those 4 shows.
Holes.
Yeah, we'll make that a
all
show.
right. Grimm, sure, why not?
Dexter's Laboratory. Let's do that live action.
My God, nobody wants to watch a Holes TV series. Jesus. All right, remember Fox, Warner Brothers, and Disney, they announced middle of last year that they were putting together this big venture of a streaming service for sports. It was going to be called Venue Sports, which we said was a bad name. This Venue, VENU, like menu, without the E at the end of venue. So, I don't know. However, their plans originally were going to include ESPN, TNT, and Fox Sports all in one app. They just canceled their plans. It's not going to happen. I'm not surprised.
Not happening. Not on my watch.
Not on my
Get off my streaming platform.
I don't want Venue Sports.
Presence is coming out very soon, guys. Hits theaters January 24th. This is Steven Soderbergh's new film. It's a horror movie shot from the perspective of a supernatural entity. It's currently 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. A couple new posters dropped for it. I'm very intrigued by this film.
Fun. Yeah. A
Gonna have
couple of
some
weeks.
Good horror movies. We got Wolfman,
Yeah.
Presence, and Companion all in January.
Let's go, January.
Turning
All right.
into a horror month.
Our final bit of news, speaking on horror. So 1929's copyright laws have
Public domain.
have been erased. So anything that was created in 1929 in popular fiction, movies, comics, whatever, novels, they are now public domain. One of them is Peter Pan. And so the Pooniverse creators obviously snatched that up. And they're making Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. He's going to be Peter Pan is a demented child napper hellbent on sending young boys to Neverland. And Tinkerbell is is fed heroin by Peter Pan, which he calls pixie dust. What the actual
crazy.
F? Also, Popeye is now public domain.
Yeah, that's getting a horror movie too.
I think they're going to do a Popeye one for sure.
Oh, they are. They
are.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting crazy out there.
Too ridiculous.
Imagine like 80 years when stuff we're watching now and seeing now becomes public domain. It's going to be pretty silly. It's going to be pretty silly. That isn't copyrighted or owned as IP.
Yes, correct.
Correct,
Amundo.
Interesting stuff. All right, well, that wraps movie news this week. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the news on Raiders of the Lost podcast. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple. Any written reviews will be read out on the show on Apple Podcasts on the main episodes. Don't forget to share us with your family and friends. And take care, everyone.
See you next time.